Does shaving make your hair grow faster? Ever swallow gum and panic it'll be stuck in your stomach forever? Turns out, that's just one of many myths we've all believed. You've probably heard myths that you just assumed were true because an adult said so, or it made sense. From raging bulls to hair growth hacks, this video busts common myths you won't believe you ever fell for. Plus, we'll unveil a centuries-old myth at the end that's finally getting debunked.
Alright, let's kick things off with a classic one. Sugar makes kids hyperactive. You've certainly been in a birthday party where sugar-crazed kids bouncing off the walls like human pinballs. Parents blaming the cake, kids blaming the parents for not letting them eat more cake. It's a tale as old as time. But guess what? It's a total myth. Scientists have actually done a bunch of studies on this, and they found no logical connection between sugar and hyperactivity. Turns out kids are just naturally energetic little humans, especially when you put them in a room full of presents and cake. So next time your kid's bouncing off the walls after a sugar binge, blame it on their boundless energy, not the sprinkles on their cupcake. Next up, we're tackling a myth that's been around since, well, probably since carrots were invented. Yes, eating carrots will give you superhuman eyesight. It's a story we've all heard from our parents or grandparents. Now, while carrots are definitely good for your peepers, they won't magically turn you into Superman. This myth actually started during World War II. It's a fascinating piece of history. The British were trying to keep their new radar technology a secret, so they spread a rumor that their pilots had amazing night vision because they ate a ton of carrots. Pretty clever, isn't it? They needed a cover story, and carrots were the perfect scapegoat. And guess what? It worked. The public bought into it completely. The idea spread like wildfire, and soon everyone believed that carrots were the secret to perfect vision. So, while you might not be able to see in the dark after downing a bag of baby carrots, just remember, you're helping your eyes stay healthy, and that's pretty super in itself. Carrots are rich in beta-carotene, which your body converts into vitamin A, essential for good vision. So keep munching on those carrots, but don't expect any superpowers. This next myth is a little bit creepy, but don't be afraid to go there. It's the one about hair and nails continuing to grow after you die. Okay, I'll admit this one sounds kinda believable. I mean, you hear all sorts of weird stuff about what happens to your body after you kick the bucket. But the truth is, it's just an optical illusion. As your skin dries out after death, it retracts, making your nails and hair appear longer. It's like shrinking your clothes in the dryer. Your body didn't actually get bigger, your clothes just got tighter. So rest assured, your hair and nails aren't going to turn you into a zombie anytime soon. Now let's talk about bulls for a second. These magnificent creatures have been part of human culture for centuries, often misunderstood and misrepresented. Specifically, the myth that bulls go absolutely crazy when they see the color red. This idea has been promoted by countless movies, cartoons, and even some traditional practices. It's a classic scene, but it's based on a big fat lie. The truth is far more interesting and less dramatic. You see, bulls are actually colorblind to red. There's no difference between red and other colors like green or blue for them. The real reason they charge at that cape is because of the movement. It's the motion that catches their eye, not the color. It's like waving a giant flag in front of them. You can't help but react. The movement triggers their natural instincts. So next time you're at a bullfight, or just hanging out with a bull, don't worry about wearing red. They won't even notice. Instead, be mindful of your movements, as that's what truly captures their attention. But don't be afraid to move your finger and give us a like before we bust the next myth. The next one in the list is one of those things that just gets passed down from generation to generation. It's the idea that you can see the Great Wall of China from space. This myth has been around for ages, and it's often repeated in classrooms. It is a really long wall, right? Stretching over 21,000 kilometers. It's an impressive feat of ancient engineering. So it makes sense, kinda. You'd think something that massive would be visible from space, just like the pyramids or other large structures. But here's the thing. Even astronauts have confirmed that this one is a bust. They've been up there and they've looked for it. From space, the Great Wall is pretty darn hard to spot. It's not as distinct as you might imagine, blending into the natural landscape around it. The wall's color and materials make it nearly invisible from such a high altitude. So unless you've got superhuman vision or a really powerful telescope, you're gonna have to stick to seeing the Great Wall of China the old-fashioned way, by actually going there. Visiting it in person is the best way to truly appreciate its grandeur and historical significance. Ever heard the saying, lightning never strikes the same place twice? Well, it turns out that's about as accurate as saying pigeons are just rats with wings. Lightning is actually a big fan of repeat performances. Just ask the Empire State Building. It gets struck by lightning about 25 times a year. Talk about a shocking experience. The truth is, lightning is attracted to tall, pointy things, and it doesn't keep a list of where it's been before. So if you find yourself caught in a thunderstorm, don't assume you're safe just because lightning has already struck nearby. Find shelter, and remember, when thunder roars, go indoors. Okay, time to talk about a myth that's been messing with our self-esteem for way too long. The idea that humans only use 10% of their brains. Now, I don't know about you, but some days it feels like I'm running on about 3% brain power max. But thankfully, science doesn't agree. We actually use our entire brain, even if it doesn't feel like it sometimes. Just imagine if we could unlock that other 90%. We'd be like walking, talking supercomputers. I'd finally be able to remember where I put my keys and maybe even understand astrophysics. But even at 100%, I'm pretty sure I'd still find a way to lose my phone. Some things that never change. Most people believe that shaving makes your hair grow back thicker and darker. But is this really true? This myth started over 100 years ago, but was debunked in 1928, yet many still believe it. When you shave, you're just cutting the hair at the skin surface, where it is thickest. As the hair grows back from this base, it feels coarser at first, giving the impression of thicker hair. Over time, the hair tapers off and becomes thinner again. New hair also looks darker initially because it hasn't been exposed to light, moisture, or soap, which all lighten and thin the hair. Clinical trials show that shaving doesn't change the thickness or color of your hair. It's just an illusion during the regrowth process. Now let's resolve a childhood whopper that's been sticking around for so long. The myth that if you swallow gum, it'll stay in your stomach for 7 years, or 10, or maybe even until you graduate college. The truth is, our digestive system isn't quite as unforgiving as your grandma might have led you to believe. While gum isn't exactly a culinary delight for your intestines, it can't actually get stuck there forever. The gum base, which is what gives gum its chewiness, is indigestible, meaning our bodies don't have the enzymes to break it down like they do with yummy pizza. But here's the funny part, that doesn't mean it becomes a permanent resident. That wad of gum simply takes a scenic route through your digestive system, eventually exiting the body completely harmless. So next time you accidentally swallow a piece of gum, don't panic. Just picture it on a little digestive adventure, and you'll be reunited with it in a day or two. No 7-year sentence is required. Let's address the myth that's probably caused the most arguments at the dinner table. Cracking your knuckles causes arthritis. Admit it. You've probably heard this one from your mom a million times. But good news, everyone. You can keep on cracking those knuckles to your heart's content, because this myth has officially been debunked. That popping sound you hear is actually just gas bubbles being released in your joints. It's totally harmless. Now, it might annoy the heck out of the people around you, but is not going to give you arthritis. So go ahead, crack away. Last but not the least, let's bust another myth which has been passed down through generations, sponsored by cows everywhere. The idea that drinking milk will transform your bones into unbreakable calcium-fortified superstructures has been around forever. But it turns out that the whole milk thing might be a bit more tall tale than scientific truth. Don't get me wrong, milk isn't all bad. It's a good source of calcium, which is important for bone health. But here's the twist. Strong bones need more than just calcium. It's like building a house. Sure, you need bricks, but you also need a good foundation like vitamin D for calcium absorption and strong beams, which is weight-bearing exercise to stimulate bone growth. So, if chugging gallons of milk isn't the answer, what is? A balanced diet with plenty of fruits, veggies, and whole grains provides a symphony of nutrients for bone health. Plus, don't forget the mighty vitamin D. Sunshine and some fortified foods are your best bets there. And of course, weight-bearing exercise like running and dancing is key for keeping those bones strong. So ditch the milk myth and embrace a well-rounded approach to bone health. Your skeleton will thank you, and you might just avoid a superhero landing gone wrong. And now you have these jaw-dropping myths. It's amazing how these things stick around, even when science has proven them wrong. But that's the power of a good story, right? Now I'm curious, what's the craziest myth you used to believe? Let me know in the comments below. And if you've made it this far, you're a true mythbuster. Hit that like button to show your support for our channel. Until next time, stay curious, my friends.